Hello, I'm Ed, this is LeEdFollow, and today my IRP shifter has finally arrived. So after a 12-week wait, which is a bit ridiculous, but anyway, my IRP shifter has finally arrived. It looks beautiful. I'll do some beauty roll shots of it, and I'm looking forward to installing it. I used to have a coolerworx shifter on this car when I got it, and what annoyed me with that is that it rattled a bit, and I got a bit slight OCD with my car, with things like rattles and noises like that. So also when I had a lightweight flywheel in the car, lightweight flywheels and short shifters don't really like each other that much and make the shifting a bit awkward. So hopefully the IRP shifter, I won't have any of that, but I do miss the sort of snick snack sort of shifting that you get with those. So we'll start to install it now. So we have to start off in the car. We take off the gear knob, my lovely, very expensive Nissan gear knob, and then we take off this. There's one plug to undo there on the gearbox surround, so we take that out, and then we got decent access to this thing there. So next up we got 4 bolts to take off there, and at the back down there. These are normally 10mm, mine have been replaced with Allen keys. Can't remember why I did that, but I did. So we'll take this off and then we'll see what we're left with. So that's those taken out. You've got these wiring harnesses here you need to take out, so you can get like a 10 or 11mm socket, pop on there and they'll pop out. And then we just got to manhandle this out. You can do this all without removing the center console, so don't feel you have to. It's not the hardest thing in the world to remove. If you're doing something else that needs removing, do it, but otherwise just keep it in. First, I'll do a quick demonstration of the shifting at the moment. So this is the movement, which isn't bad at all. So if we measure it against that, it's halfway against the knurled portion there. So it's not awful, but it can be better, and it will be better. So those 3 bolts are out. Pull out that plate, and then it's the shifter. Now bear with me, I haven't done that before. Oh yeah. We need to get under the car now and start unbolting everything, because there is a nut and bolt bolting the shifter onto the mechanism. So give me a second, I'll jack up the car. So now we're under the car, after giving it a shake, make sure it's not going to go anywhere, and got loads of supports under this. We need to remove this. It's held in with 4 14mm bolts each end, 2 each end. So we put a jack under that, we'll undo these, and then we'll lower it down a bit, and that will give us the access we need to undo all the shifter gubbins. So those are all out now. So now we can lower the jack down a bit. As you can see, that should have given us some decent access up in here. So I'll have a look at that now and see what's next. Sorry, it's a bit cramped under here. Perks are doing on the ground, but there's 4 bolts you've got to take off. One on that, there's this cage that holds the shifter mech. Sorry, the footage isn't that great, but there's 2 either side, and then there's 2 on the top. And then if we get up there, there's a, where is she? There's a bolt there, which you can just about make out, which attaches the shifter mechanism to the shifter. So we'll start undoing that. I've removed the 12mm that holds the shifter, so that just pulls out, and this spring pulls out. I've undone the 2 14mm at the side of this cradle. So now we just got to do the ones on the top. I think they're normally 14s. I think mine might be a different size because they fitted what they had. So the easiest way, I think, for the top ones is just to come in through the top once the shifter's out. So I'll do that. So that's the cradle out. It is definitely a lot easier to do the top bolts from the top. It's not that hard a job as long as your access is good. Mine hasn't been brilliant. My own fault, a bit lazy. So now next thing will be to put the new IRP shifter in place. The shifter comes with some new hardware. I think the bolts are a little bit longer to just bolt it in. Don't bolt it in tightly to start with. Just bolt it in loose and then we'll tighten everything up once it's all installed. Once everything is tightened up below, so we've redone the 12mm that holds the shifter on. We've torqued the transmission mount. That's all back up in its place. So the shifter is now in. Make sure every gear works. Reverse, you push down the button on the top, which is nice. So the next thing is to set up the blockouts. So we start with 6th. We left hand side adjustment nubs are for the 5th and 6th, so we do it all the way to the edge and back it off just a tiny bit, and then we'll tighten that nut down to the base. That's the 5th and 6th lockout done. I just left a tiny little bit of play in there. You don't want it sort of banged all the way up. So that is to slam it over 5th, 6th gear. Lovely. So now we have to do the first gear, second gear. So as you can see, a lot of slack there. So we just tighten this up to about there, a little bit of slack, and lock that nut down. That's it, all installed. So now we just got to put the cover back on, make sure everything works before we do that, and reverse, and we're in. It's not that bad of install. So let's put the cover on. Apparently there's some trimming we need to do. I'm not sure if it is, it might be a 350Z thing, but we'll find out when we put the cover back on. So, no trimming required. That's all in. So I'm going to get the car on the ground and we'll take it for a quick spin. So, that's installed. Let's see how it is. It's a little bit tighter than stock, which is to be expected. But you just, after this short drive I've already done, you just want to keep changing gears. It is lovely to use. So far, no vibration, but we'll find out. And if it will vibrate, this is a car that will do it on, because I have an uprated transmission mount, which really makes the shifting doubly nice. So we're on a fast bit now. There's a slight bit of rattle on it, which not as bad as coolerworx, but there's a slight bit, and I think that's probably down to me having an uprated transmission mount. So, but it's not the coolerworx rattle. You couldn't hear anything over the rattle. This is worth the extra 80 quid, I think, over the coolerworx. Although coolerworx have a new one out. They have the Pro version, which apparently gets rid of a lot of the rattles. But I think when something's made out of aluminium and is all metal on metal, I think it's very hard to dial out noise completely. So, right, about to hit this fast bit again. well, the national speed limit. Okay. Shifted, got to get used to it a bit. Yeah, that's better. Seems to be third gear where the rattle is. Fourth gear. I like it. I do like it a lot. The rattle might annoy me, but we'll find out. And I think on this one it might be easier to diagnose where it's coming from. Apparently some people have put rubber underneath as an extra damper, but I think I can live with it. I think I can live with it. We'll find out. So there we go. That's the IRP shifter installed finally. It's been on the shelf for a couple of weeks. In short, I like it, I enjoy it. It makes shifting nice. It's a nice distance away from the steering wheel. There is a slight rattle with it. Some people have got rattles with that in the past, from reviews I've read. Whether it can be dialed out, I'm not sure. I do have a stiffer trans mount that might contribute to it, but it's not that bad a rattle. So if you need a short shifter, I like this one and it's worth a shot. Downsides, you can't change the gear knob, but I don't mind. I quite like the one that comes on it. And that's about it. Fitting isn't too bad. Just make sure the car is high enough in the air. I didn't. I managed to scrape half my face off on the flex mounts on the exhaust. So if the car is high enough in the air, it's pretty simple to do. So hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks very much. Bye.